The first episode of Vladimir begins with a disturbing image that immediately reframes everything that follows. In a quiet cabin at night, the protagonist calmly writes in a notebook while a half-naked Vladimir appears tied to a chair inside. He wakes up confused and panicked while she steps outside for a cigarette. But before we understand how things got there, the story rewinds 6 weeks earlier. That opening scene isn't just a shocking hook. It signals that what starts as a personal crisis about aging, relevance, and desire may spiral into something far darker. Episode 1 is about the protagonist's growing fear that she has lost influence over the world around her. She reflects bluntly that she may never again hold real power over another person. Once admired by students and respected across campus, she now senses the cultural ground shifting beneath her. Her academic ideas feel outdated. Younger colleagues dominate conversations, and even her daughter no longer looks at her with admiration. What humiliates her most is the idea that she may no longer be sexually compelling. For someone who once thrived on intellectual authority and quiet seduction, the loss of that magnetism feels like an existential crisis. That emotional vacuum becomes the foundation for everything that follows. The situation explodes when the campus scandal becomes public. Her husband John has been accused by multiple former students of sexual relationships while he was their professor. More than 1,000 alumni have signed a petition demanding his removal. The revelation turns their once celebrated academic marriage into a public spectacle. For years, they were known as the department's golden couple. He, the charismatic poetry scholar and department chair, she, the brilliant creative writing professor with beloved classes. But the scandal exposes something uncomfortable. Their marriage has long operated under an unspoken open arrangement. While the protagonist insists John's relationships were consensual and mutually desired, the broader academic community sees a clear abuse of power. The generational divide becomes obvious. To her, the dynamic between teacher and student could even be part of the attraction. To the modern campus culture around her, it represents exploitation. Suddenly, she finds herself defending ideas that younger students and colleagues view as deeply troubling. In the middle of this turmoil, a new figure appears, Vladimir Vladinsky. She first notices him at the grocery store before learning he's the department's new assistant professor. Their introduction during the faculty meeting carries immediate tension. She openly studies him, clearly intrigued. And like the scandal surrounding her husband, this attraction feels fresh and electric. But there is an immediate complication. Vladimir is married to Cynthia and has a young daughter. Cynthia admires the protagonist deeply and even considers her novel formative to her life. The admiration creates an uncomfortable imbalance, turning what might have been a simple attraction into something morally complicated. Still, the protagonist invites them to dinner. The seed of obsession is planted. The emotional center of the episode arrives when the protagonist's daughter, Sid, visits. Sid reveals she's dating an older woman named Alexis, and is even discussing having a child. Instead of offering support, her mother reacts with skepticism and control, suggesting Sid is not ready. The conversation quickly deteriorates. Then everything collapses at dinner. In the middle of an argument, the protagonist blurts out the truth about John's suspension and his affairs with students. The revelation devastates Sid, who also learns that her mother knew about the relationships for years. For Sid, the betrayal cuts deep. Her parents didn't just hide the scandal, they normalized it. She storms out with Alexis, leaving the family fractured. This moment marks the emotional breaking point for the protagonist. After years of defending John and maintaining the illusion of their intellectual marriage, she finally refuses to continue supporting him. She tells him to leave. The golden couple is officially over. After John leaves, the protagonist claims she wants something simple, freedom, a life without complications or other people's problems. But her actions reveal something different. She falls asleep listening to one of Vladimir's interviews, clearly fascinated by him. The next morning, she wakes to a flood of messages, reflecting on her life and the emptiness she now feels. And then Vladimir appears at her door. His arrival represents more than romantic intrigue. He represents possibility. For the first time since the scandal erupted, she sees someone who might restore the feeling she fears losing, the ability to captivate someone younger, intelligent, and desirable. In other words, power. The mysterious opening scene now carries much more weight. Seeing Vladimir tied to a chair weeks later suggests the relationship between them will not remain a simple attraction. Something about their dynamic will escalate, possibly into obsession, manipulation, or even violence. Because the protagonist isn't just interested in Vladimir, she is desperate to prove that she still matters. Her voiceover reveals that what terrifies her most isn't scandal, divorce, or academic decline. It's irrelevance. If Vladimir becomes the person through whom she proves she still has influence, their relationship could quickly become dangerous. By the end of the episode, the protagonist claims she wants peace and independence, but the final moment hints at the opposite. Vladimir's arrival at her door introduces exactly the kind of emotional chaos she says she wants to escape, and deep down, that may be precisely why she invited him in.